So the Las Vegas Raiders superstar defensive end Maxx Crosby is actually going viral on social media for a video that I feel like is pretty much an everyday thing that kind of happens. You know, Maxx Crosby apparently pushed Mike Caldwell, which is the Las Vegas Raiders linebacker coach, and people are saying Maxx Crosby is now frustrated. The mass media that exists on Twitter is now taking this story and saying it's just a matter of time until Maxx Crosby gets traded. There's tweets with 20, 30, 40,000 likes. People have turned this into a massive story. They're saying Maxx Crosby's frustrated. He no longer wants to be there. And it's crazy to me because as someone who's played football, it's a very normal thing that happens in the heat of the moment. This isn't Maxx Crosby now is going to hold this against Mike Caldwell for the rest of his life. This isn't that Maxx Crosby is going to go to Mark Davis tomorrow and request a trade. This isn't that, right? This is just the heat of the moment. Two guys that have a relationship that most of us will never understand because it's a personal relationship. Mike Caldwell, Maxx Crosby, they may actually do this stuff regularly. Right? They might push each other to fire each other up. We don't really know, right? But Maxx Crosby actually did clarify. And Maxx Crosby pretty much made it known what happened exactly in that viral video.
We do that all the time. It's like, people look at it, oh, they're losing, and then Max pushes it. Like, that's how, we play football. We're grown men. We're alpha males. We don't greet each other the same. So I just, he was hyping me up, and I hyped him up, go, you know what I mean? And we're down, but it just showed, we're not quitting, you know what I mean? So that was literally all it was. I'll look in every camera. I love Mike Caldwell. I love Mike Caldwell. That's my guy. Everyone I'll look in every camera. That's my guy. That's all I'm going to say. I love him. There's literally zero. It's completely made up out of dust. So the camera, it made it look bad. It looked like I was throwing him out the club, but that was not what happened at all.
So there you guys have it. Maxx Crosby is basically clarifying that entire thing is essentially a non-story, right? There's nothing to that more than the fact that Max is firing up Mike Caldwell, the linebackers coach, is firing up Maxx Crosby, and it's nothing more than that. There's no hate between each other. They're not going to hold it against each other. They're not going to go into next week and fist fight each other, right? It's really not a big deal. And I hate that this happens because, even last week we saw Bo Nix, quarterback of the Denver Broncos, and Sean Payton actually arguing on the sideline, right? Or they're chirping at each other or whatever it was. Right, but it's one of those things where it's the heat of the moment. It's really not a big deal. I used to have this stuff happen with the offensive line coach for the team I played for all the time, right? Where we would practice something or we talk about something, watching tape. Coach would give a suggestion. I'd give my suggestion, kind of go back and forth. And then you're fired up. It's the heat of the moment. Something works. It doesn't work. You're not going to hold it against this person and you don't hate this person now, right? It's really not a big deal, but it's crazy because the social media stories are always crazy, right? It never fails. Now, one of the things with Maxx Crosby that I think we all have to recognize is this guy is such a great football player on the field, but he's such a great person off the field as well. We had Antonio Brown, Maxx Crosby's rookie year, and Brown was gone within seconds, right? He showed up. He said he wants to be here. Within seconds, he was gone. Right, we had moments even beyond that where we had guys like Henry Ruggs and John Gruden and, middle of the season, a guy's going to jail, a guy's getting fired. We had, the Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, it was midnight and those guys get fired. We had so many different things happen. Devontae Adams is here 1 week and he's gone the next week. And although Maxx Crosby can easily say, I'm out of here, I don't want to be with the Raiders anymore, trade me to a team that's going to win a Super Bowl, let me go and chase greatness with the team that's going to be in the playoffs every single year. Max has decided not to do that, right? Instead of going and chasing a ring and chasing a team to have success on, Maxx Crosby wants to bring success to the Raiders. And I appreciate it so much. In fact, he was talking in his post-game presser, and a question was asked to him about how he kind of felt about this game and what he just kind of felt generally speaking. And I love the way this guy answered the question, because you can see this guy's actually genuinely disappointed that the Raiders aren't having success. And he's disappointed for us as fans, right? He's disappointed that him and that team aren't able to have success. Listen to what he essentially had to say.
At the end of the day, we're not going to make excuses. We're not going to, look for a reason outside of the box to make ourselves feel better. We got the people in the building that got to get it done. You know what I mean? So it's on all of us.
Max, what do you think your guys' biggest issue has been stopping the run?
It's just gap integrity. getting off blocks, dominating in front of me. I feel like as a collective, we haven't done a good enough job at that.
I feel like Divine just happened to be back out there when he plays early, celebrating all that stuff. What was it like to have him back? What did you see from him?
It was awesome. He was flying around, balling, had a smile on his face, hit a couple dances. I was like, yeah, I miss my guy. So happy for him.
Max, you talked about having to stay optimistic. You don't really have a choice but to keep pushing. But what goes into actually pulling that off? Coming off of some losses like this.
Yeah, I mean that's literally all you can do. You can fall into the crowd and be like everybody else and be negative and sad. And I'm blessed. You know what I mean? I'm blessed to be able to play this game. I would play if I made $0 doing it. I love doing this shit. I live it every day. So it doesn't stop me. You know what I mean? The outside world's gonna try to find everything to bring us down, and rightfully so. After a game like that, like it's bullshit. We got to find ways to get better, and it sucks for the fans. I want them to see the best version of us, and we haven't been able to do that. So, unfortunately, we lost, but we have to, respond. It's literally all you can do.
So obviously, Maxx Crosby was disappointed with the results, and I love the effort that Max puts into it because I think down the line, the Raiders will have success. It's just a matter of time. But there were moments in today's game that I felt like the Raiders will have to clean up as we go forward in order to have that success. One of those moments was a moment in which the Raiders essentially scored a touchdown and they decided not to throw the challenge flag. They didn't challenge it and they fumbled the play later. It was a moment that I felt like really flipped this game because the Raiders were down by 2 touchdowns at that point. Had they scored a touchdown, they'd only have been down by 1 touchdown. And they did actually score a touchdown, right? They did technically score a touchdown. Ended up getting called back. And then I thought they had scored another touchdown. And then Antonio Pierce didn't challenge it. And they fumbled the play later. But Antonio Pierce was asked specifically why he didn't challenge that. Listening to what Antonio Pierce had to say.
Antonio, wanted to take you back to the play right before the fumble at the goal line. It looked like from up top, it looked like it was a play that could have been a touchdown, but was there any consideration to challenging it at that point? I know you guys went hurry up on the next play.
Yeah, we went hurry up. I asked if he was in or not. He said it's close. Inside zone run play. I expected a fumble to happen the next one, so that's kind of how that played out.
So, of course, Antonio Pierce said that, he thought about it. He asked. It was close. They're in a hurry-up mode, so he ultimately decided not to throw that flag. However, I think it was a mistake regardless. I think the Raiders should have challenged it. Your challenges don't carry into next week. You don't have to get both your challenges right to have a third one. You only got to have one right? So the challenges don't matter at this point. And if a play is that close, you got to throw that challenge flag. Plus, it shows your team that, hey, we're going out there to win, right? We don't want to go out there to lose. We don't want to play this game to lose. And I know some people will say, no one's playing to lose, and I understand that, but the Raiders made some mistakes in this game, right? Luke Getsy specifically, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But, when Antonio Pierce was asked specifically about not challenging it, he did say that we had an inside zone play essentially called, right? He made some sort of a thought on that play specifically.
Inside zone run play. I expected a fumble to happen the next one, so
kind of hesitated a little bit with that comment. Now, here's the interesting thing. Down in goal line, you don't run inside zone, right? Inside zone does not work in goal line. Zone runs don't generally work in goal line. You have to run power, right? It's just what it is. When it comes to short distance situations, you don't run zone. But that's not something Luke Getsy understands. And I almost feel like Antonio Pierce recognizes that Luke Getsy has some flaws. Calling inside zone down in the goal line doesn't make sense, right? One of the things that happens with zone is you leave guys on the outside unblocked on zone runs, right? So TJ Watt, for example, ended up punching the ball out, and that was because he essentially went unblocked, right? So to me, Antonio Pierce is kind of questioning Luke Getsy a little bit, or at least he doesn't fully put it out there, but I feel like he might be questioning him a little bit. And rightfully so, right? Let's just be honest. Luke Getsy was the reason why the Raiders lost this game. There was a moment when it was 1st and 20, right after a holding penalty, and Luke Getsy calls a run play for 2 yards. Then it was 2nd and 18, we call another run play, right? To me, on 1st and 20, you got to pick up 7-8 yards per play to have a real shot to pick that third down up, right? Because it just doesn't make sense otherwise. On top of that, Luke Getsy on 3rd and 11 called the run play early on in the game. that's a loser mentality, right? So to me, the Raiders got to get that offense fixed up. I know Antonio Pierce is obviously putting so much effort into winning for the Raiders, but you don't win football games if your offensive coordinator is not also pushing the football, being aggressive, wanting to take points from the opposing defense. It doesn't work without that. And right now, Luke Getsy's playing way too conservative, in my opinion. Right, so hopefully Luke Getsy gets it together, because without that, the Raiders won't have success. You can have Aiden O'Connell back there. You can have Gardner Minshew back there. You can have Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson back there. Not going to win games unless Luke Getsy gets it together. Hopefully he does. And then let's wrap this video up talking about some positive things that are kind of coming out. Brock Bowers has apparently passed Amari Cooper for the most receptions in Raiders history among players in their first 6 games with the team. Shout out to Brock Bowers, man. The guy has been an absolute superstar, right? Brock Bowers has been an absolute superstar. And I'm so glad that the Raiders have brought in Brock Bowers. You know, we might end up only winning 3 or 4 games this season. We might not have success, but the one thing we did have success in is essentially finding a tight end like Brock Bowers, a guy that could be the long-term future for the Raiders. He's a guy that, you know, even if Jack Jones doesn't end up being a good corner, even if Colton Miller falls off and he doesn't end up being a good tackle long-term, we know that the tight end we drafted in the first round in the 2024 NFL draft is legit, right? He's breaking records already, 33 catches in the first 6 games. He's on pace to have over 100 catches, which is crazy to think. But I'm not shocked at all, to be honest with you guys. And I'm excited to see what ends up happening. Let me know what you guys think, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. The Raiders will hopefully bounce back. Let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.